Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and realizing that, despite all the medicine, all the technology, and all the promises of modern life, your body still feels restless. Your breath is shallow, your mind races, and your heart carries an invisible weight. You rush to fix it, another pill, another distraction, another plan, but nothing truly changes. What if the reason is not that you are broken, but that you have forgotten how to listen? Consider this. For thousands of years, long before laboratories and hospitals, monks in silent forests healed not through chemicals but through presence. They discovered that when the breath slows, the body remembers. When the mind softens, the heart begins to open. And when you stop fighting yourself, something extraordinary happens. You begin to heal naturally from within. This may sound unbelievable in a world obsessed with doing, fixing, achieving, but pause for just a moment and ask yourself, when was the last time you sat in silence and felt your own body without judgment? When was the last time you allowed stillness to touch your bones, your heart, your very breath? What you are about to hear is not another technique, not another quick solution. It is older than science, quieter than words, and more powerful than you might imagine. A Buddhist path to healing that requires no medicine, only 5 minutes of your undivided presence. 5 minutes that could shift the way you see your body, your suffering, and your freedom. Today we begin a journey into one of the simplest, yet most profound truths. Your body already carries the wisdom to heal itself. Beneath layers of stress and noise, there is a silent rhythm waiting to be remembered. Buddhism calls this rhythm mindfulness, awareness, that is both gentle and unshakable. When you return to it, even for a few minutes, the body shifts from survival into harmony. In this video, we will uncover an ancient ritual practiced quietly in forest monasteries across Asia, where monks understood something that modern culture often forgets. The body and mind are not separate. To calm the breath is to calm the heart. To rest the mind is to restore the body. Healing is not something you chase, it is something you allow. But our journey will not stop at ritual alone. Together, we will explore why the modern world conditions us to forget this truth, how attachment to speed and control creates disease, and how Buddhist wisdom reveals another way, a way of stillness, of release, of trust in the natural flow of life. Stay with me. By the end of this exploration, you may see your body not as a burden to repair, but as a sacred temple of awareness. And the practice you learn today could become the doorway to freedom, health, and peace. Before we dive deeper, I invite you to take a moment to connect with this community of seekers. If these words already touch something inside you, please subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and share your reflections in the comments. Not as a habit, but as an act of intention, because every time you engage, you help spread teachings that bring silence, wisdom, and healing into a world drowning in noise. This is not about numbers or popularity. It is about creating a circle of people who still believe in the power of truth, in the quiet revolution of the mind, and in the healing force of presence. Together, we keep this flame alive. The modern world has given us countless ways to treat the body, yet so few ways to understand it. We live surrounded by medicine, supplements, technologies, and advice, and still many of us feel unwell. We treat symptoms, but never touch the root. We patch surfaces, but ignore the soil. And beneath all of this effort lies an uncomfortable truth. The body does not only suffer from illness, it suffers from disconnection. we rarely stop. Our days are filled with screens, noise, deadlines, and decisions. Even rest has become another performance, scrolling through endless feeds, watching distractions until we collapse. Our breath shortens, our hearts tighten, our nervous systems stay on high alert, as if every moment is a battle. We do not give ourselves silence, and silence is where healing begins. Think about it. When was the last time you sat completely still, without reaching for your phone, without distracting yourself, without trying to escape? For many of us, stillness feels unbearable. Within seconds, the mind races, replaying regrets, projecting fears, searching for something to hold on to. Yet this restlessness is not a sign of life, it is a sign of imbalance. Buddhism teaches that suffering arises not only from pain itself, but from our resistance to pain. We tighten against it, we fight it, we push it away, and in that struggle the suffering multiplies. The Buddha compared this to being struck by two arrows. The first arrow is the unavoidable pain of life, but the second arrow is our reaction: anger, fear, denial. And often, it is the second arrow that wounds us most deeply. In the same way, much of our physical tension is not just illness, but the body's echo of the mind's unrest. We believe healing comes from adding something, from taking more, buying more, doing more. But true healing begins the moment we stop fighting ourselves. And here lies the paradox. Modern culture rewards everything except stillness. Productivity is praised, speed is celebrated, noise is normalized. We measure our worth by how much we achieve, how fast we respond, how busy we appear. To pause, to be silent, to simply breathe, these are seen as unproductive, even lazy. But the Dharma turns this illusion upside down. The Buddha taught that stopping is not weakness, it is wisdom. For in stopping, we remember. In stopping, we see clearly. In stopping, the natural intelligence of the body has space to emerge. Science, too, confirms what the monks knew centuries ago. When we slow the breath, the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's healing mode, activates. Heart rate decreases, muscles release, immunity strengthens. This is not mystical, it is biological. Yet, beyond biology, there is something deeper, a return to wholeness. The uncomfortable truth is that most of us do not need more medicine, we need more awareness. We need to relearn how to dwell in the present moment, because only in presence can the body truly repair itself. 5 minutes of presence can shift more than hours of distraction. 5 minutes of conscious breathing can restore what years of rushing have eroded. But this truth is difficult because it asks something radical of us: to trust what is already within, to stop searching outside and return to the silence inside. It feels too simple, too quiet, too small, and yet that is why it is powerful. The ego thrives on complexity, but the soul thrives on simplicity. So I ask you, what if the cure you've been seeking is not hidden in a pill or a device, but in the forgotten art of breathing with awareness? What if healing begins not when you control your body, but when you finally listen to it? When you close your eyes, the battle begins. The body wants rest, but the mind refuses. Thoughts race, unfinished tasks, old arguments, fears about tomorrow. The breath shortens, shoulders tighten, and even in stillness you feel restless. This is the first prison, the prison of your own psychology. Most people believe they are free, yet they are slaves to inner habits. Fear of missing out, fear of failure, fear of silence itself. To sit quietly for 5 minutes, feels unbearable, because the mind clings to stimulation the way a drowning person clings to driftwood. And yet, what we call stimulation often drags us deeper. Buddhism describes this restless cycle as tanha, craving. Craving is not only for possessions, it is for experiences, for constant reassurance, for anything that keeps us from facing the void within. And every craving creates suffering because it is endless. As soon as one desire is satisfied, another arises. The mind whispers, just one more scroll, one more reply, one more plan. But the body grows weary. Stress hormones flood the bloodstream. Muscles ache from tension that never leaves. Sleep becomes shallow. Even joy feels thin. And yet, instead of listening, we keep pushing. The Buddha compared the untrained mind to a monkey leaping from branch to branch, never still. Modern psychology says the same. Our attention span is fractured, our nervous systems overstimulated, but the root is the same. We do not know how to sit, to breathe, to simply be. Imagine a lake. When the wind is strong, the surface is broken into waves, and you cannot see the reflection of the moon. But when the wind rests, the surface becomes still, and the moon appears in perfect clarity. Your body is that lake. Your breath is that wind. Until you calm the wind, the truth of your being remains hidden. But this restlessness is not only individual, it is cultivated. We live in a society designed to keep us distracted. Companies profit from our attention. Industries thrive on our dissatisfaction. And systems of power remain stable when we are too tired to question them. Consider your daily life. Notifications demand immediate response. Ads whisper that you are not enough until you buy more. Work environments reward constant productivity, punishing pauses. Even our conversations are filled with surface-level reactions, rarely with deep reflection. In this environment, silence becomes rebellion. Algorithms feed you what you already believe, trapping you in echo chambers. Instead of dialogue, we get noise. Instead of reflection, reaction. Instead of presence, endless consumption. And every moment you give away your attention, you give away your life force. The education system, too, has trained us not to think, but to obey. From a young age, we are rewarded for memorization, not for inquiry. Questions are silenced. Curiosity is redirected into conformity. Over time, we internalize the message. Follow the rules. Stay busy. Don't sit still. The result is a culture of exhaustion, bodies that never rest, minds that never question, hearts that never feel whole. Social media intensifies the storm. Outrage spreads faster than wisdom. Speed is valued over depth. Anger receives more clicks than silence. And we learn to mirror this rhythm in our own nervous systems. Quick reactions, shallow breaths, restless sleep. But here is the most dangerous part. When people forget how to pause, they forget how to heal. A distracted society is an obedient society. A restless mind is an easy mind to manipulate. Those who profit from your distraction will never remind you to breathe. But the Buddha did. He reminded us over and over, in your breath is your refuge. Imagine standing in the middle of a crowded market, noise pressing from every side. Then suddenly, you step into a quiet temple courtyard. The shift is immediate. You feel the space, the calm, the stillness. That temple is within you. The question is, do you remember how to enter? At the deepest layer, Buddhism offers not just a critique of modern life, but a cure. The Dharma is a medicine not always sweet. but always healing. The first truth, dukkha, suffering. Life, as most of us live it, is restless, unsatisfying, fragile. We chase health yet fear aging, chase wealth yet fear loss, chase recognition yet fear rejection. Even pleasure becomes suffering when we cling to it, because nothing lasts. The second truth, the origin of suffering is craving. Not just craving for things, but craving for permanence, craving for control, craving for a self that never changes. Yet everything changes. The body ages. The mind shifts. Relationships transform. To resist this is to suffer. The third truth, the cessation of suffering is possible, not by controlling life, but by releasing control. Not by clinging to health, but by dwelling in presence. Not by adding more, but by letting go. And the fourth truth, the path. The Noble Eightfold Path is not a doctrine to believe, it is a practice to embody. Right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. Each step is a medicine, a way of aligning the mind with reality, instead of illusion. When applied to healing, this path is simple. Right view. See the body as impermanent, not as mine, but as a flow of conditions. Right effort. Practice without forcing, without grasping at results. Right mindfulness. Notice sensations, breath, feelings, without judgment. Right concentration. Allow the mind to settle, to rest deeply, like that still lake reflecting the moon. This is why the monks could heal without medicine. Not because they rejected science, but because they trusted the deepest science of all, the science of awareness. They knew that the body, given presence, has its own intelligence. They knew that illness begins in the breath, in the imbalance of tension, in the forgetting of silence. And so they remembered, they practiced, they breathed. A Buddhist ritual, then, is not magic. It is a mirror, a reminder of what is already within you. The breath is not new, you have been breathing since birth. But awareness of breath is rare, and awareness transforms. Think of a candle. In the dark, the flame looks small, but light one candle, and the entire room shifts. In the same way, 5 minutes of mindful breathing may seem small, but it can illuminate the entire landscape of your body and mind. So here we are. Restless minds trapped in restless societies, yet carrying within us the most profound medicine, the Dharma of awareness. The uncomfortable truth we must face is this: healing will not come from outside until we awaken the silence inside. And though the world pushes us to forget, the path is always one breath away. Stay with me, because what comes next is the turning point, the moment where analysis gives way to awakening, where philosophy becomes practice, and where you discover that the body and the Dharma are not separate at all. There comes a moment in every journey when analysis is no longer enough. You can list causes, describe systems, dissect psychology, but the real transformation begins only when you glimpse the truth directly. This is the turning point, the place where the teaching is no longer theory but revelation. And here is the revelation. Healing begins the moment you stop fighting yourself. Think about how much of your life has been spent in struggle. You fight your body when it feels tired. You fight your mind when it wanders. You fight your emotions when they surface. You fight aging. You fight impermanence. You even fight silence itself. But what if the very act of fighting is the disease? What if the cure is not resistance but release? Buddhism teaches that clinging and aversion are the two great roots of suffering. Clinging is the desperate attempt to hold what will inevitably slip away. Aversion is the endless effort to push away what is already here. Between these two, we are torn apart, never at rest. And yet, when you release both, when you neither grasp nor reject, what remains is balance, equanimity, peace. This is not passivity. It is power of the deepest kind. For the moment you stop clinging and resisting, you align with reality itself. And reality, the Dharma, is vast, fluid, alive. In that alignment, the body no longer wastes its energy in tension. The mind no longer burns itself in endless reaction. Everything softens, everything breathes, and in that softening, the body remembers how to heal. Picture a clenched fist. For years it has been tight, muscles locked, blood flow restricted. Then suddenly it opens. Relief floods in, not because something was added, but because the holding ended. That fist is your nervous system, your breath, your very being. Healing is the unclenching of your existence. This is why the Buddha spoke of nirvana not as something to gain, but as something to extinguish, the extinguishing of craving, of grasping, of struggle. Nirvana is not a place. It is the ending of inner fire. And in that cooling, the body and mind return to their natural clarity. Consider this paradox. The greatest medicine is not effort, but presence. The monks of the forest understood this. That is why they did not invent complex systems or market elaborate cures. They sat under trees, breathed with the wind, prayed with the silence. They discovered that the body heals in the same way a wound closes quietly, naturally, when given space. And so the climax of our journey is not a dramatic technique, but a quiet recognition. You are already whole. Your body is not your enemy. Your mind is not broken. What you seek has been waiting beneath the noise all along. The task is not to conquer yourself, but to trust yourself. Healing, then, is not the absence of pain, it is the presence of wisdom. It is the moment you see clearly that suffering is not who you are, but a passing cloud in the sky of awareness. And awareness itself is untouchable, unbreakable, free. This is the turning point. To stop running, to stop resisting, to finally breathe and allow life to unfold as it island. For in that breath lies not only the end of struggle, but the beginning of true healing. So, if healing begins not in resistance but in presence, the question becomes, how do we practice presence? How do we return to the body, return to the breath, return to the wisdom that never left us? The answer is both simple and profound. In Buddhist tradition, healing is not an invention, it is a remembering. And remembering happens through ritual. A ritual is not superstition, it is a structure that guides the restless mind back into alignment. It is a container for silence, a doorway into awareness. The monks of the forest developed rituals that required no medicine, no equipment, no performance, only the body, the breath, and the willingness to be still. Among them is the 5-minute healing ritual, a practice so simple it can be learned in moments, yet so powerful it can change the way your entire system functions. Let us walk through it together, not only as a set of steps, but as a teaching of the Dharma. Sit comfortably. Let your spine rise naturally, not stiff but awake, like a tree rooted in the earth. Place your hands gently on your stomach. Inhale through the nose to the count of 4, pause for 2, and exhale slowly through the mouth to the count of 6. But do not treat this as mechanical. Each breath is a message. When you inhale, Feel life entering you, a gift unearned and abundant. When you exhale, imagine a gray mist leaving your body, the tension, the worry, the old thoughts that no longer serve. In Buddhist teaching, the breath is not merely oxygen, it is prana, the life force, the link between body and mind. The Buddha's very first meditation instruction was simple. Breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. To know the breath is to know the present. And to know the present is to touch reality as it island. Stay here for a few cycles. Already the body begins to soften. Already the healing has begun. Now, place your hands together in a cup shape, resting near your navel, thumbs touching, fingers relaxed, palms open. This is the gesture of receiving the symbol that you are not grasping, not pushing, but allowing. Silently say to yourself, I am ready to receive the healing I already carry. Notice the paradox. You are both the giver and the receiver. The chalice is empty, yet in its emptiness it can hold everything. This is the teaching of shunyata, emptiness. The body heals not when it is filled with endless noise, but when it becomes spacious. Like a cup that must be empty before it can be filled, your openness becomes the ground of transformation. Close your eyes and imagine a soft golden light descending from the sky. Not a harsh spotlight, but a gentle, benevolent rain. It enters through the crown of your head, flowing down your throat, your heart, your stomach, your pelvis, all the way to your feet. As it moves, it cleanses. It washes away the residues of fear and fatigue. It restores the quiet intelligence of each organ, the liver, the heart, the immune system. It reawakens what medicine cannot measure, your body's innate wisdom. In Buddhist imagery, light is often the symbol of prajna, wisdom. Just as the sun does not choose where to shine, wisdom does not discriminate. It touches every cell, every thought, every wound. You do not need to force it. You do not need to deserve it. You only need to allow it. As you visualize, notice, the light is not coming from outside. It is your own awareness, reflected back to you. The golden rain is the radiance of your own awakened mind. Finally, place your right hand on your heart, your left hand on your stomach. Feel the rise and fall of breath beneath your palms. Silently repeat, I am healed, I am light, I am alive. Do not treat these words as commands. Treat them as reminders. The body hears the tone of your mind. When you speak with gentleness, the body listens. When you affirm with love, the cells respond. Stay here for several breaths. Smile softly, not as performance, but as gratitude. Gratitude that you are here, that you are breathing, that you are alive in this moment. This is not a declaration of perfection. It is an alignment with truth. You are not broken. Healing is not a future event, it is a present practice. Every mindful breath is already a step into wholeness. Remember, this ritual is not about technique, it is about returning. In 5 minutes of silence, you awaken what was always here. Healing is not something you chase, it is something you remember. You have now walked through a ritual that takes no more than 5 minutes. And yet, the true power of this practice is not in the moments you perform it, it is in how it ripples through the rest of your life. Think of the ritual as a seed. When you water it each morning, even for a few breaths, roots begin to spread quietly beneath the surface. At first you may not notice, but over days and weeks, something shifts. Your sleep grows deeper, your mood steadier, your body lighter. The seed of presence begins to bloom into the tree of well-being. This is why Buddhism speaks of practice rather than belief. Belief may comfort you for a moment, but practice transforms you over time. No teacher can breathe for you. No book can replace your own silence. Only you can choose to return, again and again, to the breath that was always with you. And the invitation is not to escape your life, but to re-enter it with awareness. Imagine pausing before a difficult conversation, resting your hand on your heart for a breath. Imagine beginning your day, not with a rush of notifications, but with a gentle inhalation and exhalation. Imagine facing your fears, not by pushing them away, but by allowing them to dissolve like mist in the morning sunday. This is integration. This is living the Dharma, not only on the cushion but in the marketplace, the workplace, the family table. The world will continue to rush. The noise will continue to demand your attention. But you now carry a quiet revolution inside you, the ability to pause, to breathe, to listen. And every time you choose presence over distraction, you are not only healing yourself, you are healing the world around you. For calm is contagious. Silence spreads. Awareness is radiant. So, I invite you, take this practice into your week. Try it for 7 days, 5 minutes each morning. No performance, no expectation. Simply presence. Observe what changes not only in your body, but in your relationships, your choices, your sense of freedom. And remember, you are not alone. Thousands of seekers are on this path with you, each returning to the breath, each awakening to the same truth. That healing was never outside, but within. Together, we form a circle of awareness, a community of quiet strength. At the heart of this journey lies a truth too simple for the busy world to believe. Healing is not something you chase, but something you allow. 5 minutes of presence can accomplish what hours of distraction cannot. In that space of silence, the body remembers its wisdom, the mind remembers its stillness, and the heart remembers its freedom. The world will tempt you to forget. It will tell you that health must be purchased, that peace must be earned, that freedom must be won. But the Dharma whispers otherwise. What you seek is already here. Your breath has been with you since birth, carrying you through every joy and every sorrow. Within it lies the key to return, again and again, to what is real. To live this way is more than a practice, it is a quiet act of rebellion. In a culture that worships noise, the one who sits in silence is free. In a society obsessed with doing, the one who simply breathes is whole. In a world of endless distraction, the one who remembers presence becomes a light for others. So let this be your awakening. You are not broken, you are not lost, you are not alone. You are a temple of awareness, a vessel of life, a bearer of light. Every mindful breath is an offering to this truth. Do not wait for a perfect time. Begin now. Close your eyes, inhale gently, exhale slowly, and remember, healing is here, freedom is here, peace is here, in this breath, in this moment. The path is not somewhere else. The path is you. If this practice touched you, I invite you to take the next step. Share this video with someone who needs peace more than advice, who needs silence more than noise. Leave a comment below with the words, "I begin today." So together, we weave a community of presence, a circle of seekers choosing awareness over distraction. And if you wish to continue walking this path, subscribe and join us each week as we explore teachings that awaken the heart and restore the body. Remember, your life does not change in hours, it changes in moments. One breath, one pause, one quiet choice at a time. Begin now and let the journey unfold.